Greetings friends, I'm Bobby, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you my new TBR game. So I know around this time of year lots of people either bring out new TBR games or reinvent their old games, and there's a lot of this going around, so I'm just here to put in my one. I've decided to change up my TBR game. I was getting a little bored with my old TBR game. I found it was maybe a bit too similar to Becca's Bookopoly, and I wanted to do something that was a bit more original. I just wanted to try doing something a bit more original, and I really hope you like this game. So I'm going to show you the new board, and I haven't quite finished decorating it yet, so disclaimer for that, but you know, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. There's lots of components involved in creating a board game. Colouring in isn't really my priority with this one. Anyway, so this is what the board looks like. It looks a little complex, I would say. Okay, so this is my new board, and it's not quite finished yet. I still need to like colour in all the decoration and stuff, but it's a work in progress still. So first of all, I wanted to show you the different points on the board. So throughout the board you'll see there's loads of different pictures, and each one relates to a different genre. So we've got the fantasy magic school, which is related to this light green colour. Then we've got the port, which is sci-fi, which is the orange. Then we have the classics castle here, which goes with this yellow. We then have the historical fiction port, which relates to the pink. We have my priority books mountains, and that's this blue colour. We then have the young adult village, which relates to this shade of yellow. We have the mystery thriller horror caves, which is purple. We have the middle grade market, which is red. We have the contemporary city, which is this shade of blue. And then we come over here to the graphic novel forest, which is this shade of green. So as you can see, each area has a big D on the first space in the area, and this is the destination space. This has two different uses. First of all, if you land on one, then you have to take the plot twist card, but also some of the plot twist cards. So for example, this one says, "You just got chased by a werewolf, seek refuge in the cave until morning." You would then have to move your piece to the cave's destination space. So we start with our little piece on the start square, and we have two six-sided dice. And I roll the dice, and so this time I got a 5. I have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've landed on an orange sci-fi. I would then have to take a narrative card, and this will tell me a prompt. So for this one I got start a series. I am aware that some of these prompts don't necessarily fit with each genre, so if I struggle finding a book for that genre that fits the prompt, I will shuffle the cards and pull another one. The other rule is if I roll a double with my dice, I would then have to pull a plot twist card in addition to the narrative card. So say I rolled double 3, I would move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would get me a contemporary card. I would take my narrative, it would say intimidating read. I would add that book into my TBR, and then I would take a plot twist card in addition, which would say seek help from a companion, get a friend to choose your next read. So this one would give me an extra book to read. Sometimes, like I said, it will give me a destination to move to, and that could either move me ahead or move me back. And I just think it mixes things up a little bit throughout the game. Now, my main aim for this game is to land on the book haul space at the very end. For this, I will be allowing myself to purchase new books. However, I have decided that if I do not land on it directly, I will bounce back the extra number of spaces. So if I am on this position, I roll an 8, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that would get me onto a priority book, and I could choose a narrative card. I think if I keep struggling with these, and I just keep bouncing back every time, then I will just move myself back to the beginning. However, for now we're just going to see how it goes, because the prompts are going to be mixed up every time anyway because of the cards. So hopefully it will give me a variety of different books. So there is one more element of this game that I want to explain, and that is the punishment wheel. So if for a month I don't complete one or more of the books that I was chosen from the game, then I will have to spin the punishment wheel, and it will give me some more difficult challenges to complete. Sometimes these will suggest an extra book for me to read. Sometimes it will be a challenge like read one of your chosen books within a day, or buddy read a book from your TBR with a friend. This wheel can also be used if I pull the colour wheel narrative card. So I spin the wheel, and whichever colour it lands on, I have to find on the cover of a chosen book. There are quite a few elements to this game, and it might come across as a bit complex at this point, but I'm sure you'll pick it up really easily when you see me play the game. Before I start playing, I also wanted to mention who influenced me with this game. Of course, there is Becca's Bookopoly, which influenced the whole game thing, and Cody's Book Corner with her Wheel of TBR, but I also wanted to mention two smaller channels, which are Holly from A Novel Curiosity and Caitlin from Lit Review, who these two both have fairly similar board games. I will link them in my description. Caitlin's game is based on Candyland, and it is so much fun. She chooses so many good books from her game, and I sort of got the idea for the shape of the board from her game, and I was really influenced to experiment with something a bit different. And Holly's board is really fun. She has the different colours for different genres, and then she picks prompts out of a cup. And I thought that both their games sounded a lot of fun, and they were a great influence for my own game. The last thing that I did mean to mention is that I will be choosing a priority book from my mug. So let's go ahead and do that first before I do anything else. And the first one I have chosen is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Exciting! So the first book I want to talk about today is the 2021 priority book that I pulled from my mug, and that was Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This, as I mentioned in my previous video, is a young adult sci-fi about a girl called Spencer who joins a pilot school for space pilots. However, her dad was deemed a coward, and now she has to battle this reputation, and it sounds like such a fun story. I read the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson in 2020, and I really enjoyed the writing, and the characters were so good, and I'm expecting great things from this book. I've got a friend who's read this book and the second one in the series, and she said she really loved it. So I am expecting such good things from this book. So, with that being said, let's get on with choosing my books. So I'm going to put my counter on the start space, and we will get on with the game. So my first roll, I get an 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a classic. If my piece will stay standing up. You can lie down, it's fine. And my narrative card is a gift. So a classic that was gifted to me. For my first roll I landed on classic, and the cards that I pulled for that was a gift. This is a book that I've had for a few years now, and that is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. My friend gave this to me 2 or 3 years ago, and I think the size has intimidated me, but I'm quite excited to read this because if she thinks it's a good book, then I really trust her opinion. For those of you who don't know, Dodie Smith is also the author of 101 Dalmatians, so she is, I suppose, a really good writer, although I've never read 101 Dalmatians. So it's popular, and I do expect good things from this book. I don't know a lot about the plot, but I'm going to go into it not knowing much, and I'm just hoping for the best. My second roll is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a graphic novel, and the narrative card says an international author, which means an author who is from any country other than England, to be honest. For my second roll I landed on graphic novel, and the card I pulled said an international author. So for this book I have chosen the graphic novel Skyward, which has nothing to do with the Brandon Sanderson book, I'll have you know. This is by some American writers, artists, creators. I first heard about this book on JD Ray Reid's channel, and this is about a world with a very low percentage of gravity, which in itself just sounds really fun. I don't know a lot about the plot, but the artwork looks really, really nice, and just the whole concept of having a very low sense of gravity sounds like there could be so much trouble and so much fun. So I'm really excited to get to this, and it is a short read, being a graphic novel, so hopefully that will help me get to my goals. For my third roll, I got a 3. 1, 2, 3. That is a sci-fi, and the narrative card says set in Europe. So I am in the middle of choosing the books that I am going to read this month, and I have realised that I do not own a sci-fi set in Europe, so I am going to shuffle up my narrative cards again and have another try. Okay, so we want another sci-fi that is Colour Wheel! Oh, I do like the Colour Wheel. The Colour Wheel is good. I then landed on sci-fi, and the card I pulled said set in Europe, but I then found that I couldn't find one of these books. So I pulled another card which said Colour Wheel, and here's the roll for my Colour Wheel. This is to choose my sci-fi. I hope it lands on orange. Yes! I know what I'm reading! Okay, that is really good. I know exactly what I'm going to read now. So as you can see, I landed on orange, so I had to choose a sci-fi with an orange cover, and for this one I have chosen The Martian by Andy Weir. This book I have had for about 6 years, and it was really popular when it first came out. There was a movie about it with Matt Damon. He's a bit of okay, isn't he? So I picked this up because of the hype, and then I just never read it, and I've always been really interested in the story. This is about a group of astronauts who travel to Mars, and then one of them gets left behind. This, I believe, is a diary of his time alone on Mars, and I can't remember how long he was there. I feel like it's about 3 weeks or something. It sounds really interesting, and it's got some really good reviews, so I am hoping that I enjoy this book as much as everyone else did. Roll number 4 is a double 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got a fantasy. And the narrative card says Colour Wheel. Exciting. So for my next roll I landed on fantasy, and for this one I also got a colour wheel. So here's my spin for the colour wheel. So this is my punishment wheel. I need to do 2 spins on here. The first one is to determine the colour of the cover for my fantasy book. So here we go. Oh. And that is pink. As you can see, I landed on pink, so I had to choose a fantasy with pink on the cover. And for this one, I've chosen a graphic novel called Moonstruck. This was gifted to me this Christmas by my best friend, and I don't really know a lot about the plot, but she said it was so good. It involves a lot of different fantasy creatures. I believe it's got lots of LGBT representation. And I am quite intrigued to read it. It also has some beautiful artwork, and I am very, very excited to get to this one. And our plot twist card says, you are in serious danger, spin the punishment wheel. Oh great, 2 spins in one go. I then had to pull a plot twist card, and this one told me I had to spin the punishment wheel. So here's my spin for that. So here we go. Bit more nervous about this one. And that is an intimidating read. So an extra book for me to read. Great. As you can see, I landed on intimidating read, and for this one I've chosen Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco. Now this one might not look too intimidating because it is fairly short, and I was trying to avoid longer reads as I have got a couple of long reads on this reading list. However, I've had this book for quite some time and I am quite intimidated by it because I'm worried that it will not live up to the hype. I've been putting this book off for months now because I've been so excited for it since I think the summer I started getting more excited about it again. Even though I've owned this book for years, like in the summer I thought about it and I just thought, do you know what, it sounds really fun, I want to read it, but I kept putting it off. And I think this month will be the month I read it. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, so that in itself is quite intimidating because it's not a genre that I'm used to, but I am really hoping for some good things from this book. And then for my 5th and final roll, we have got a 10. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is another classic. And the option we have is involving another species. So we'll see if we can find one of those. Otherwise, we might have to shuffle again and get a new card. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle these because I don't have a classic involving another species. So, our new classic narrative card is a reread. So for my 5th and final roll, I landed on classic again, and the card I pulled was a reread. Now I had some difficulty choosing this one. I thought about reading To Kill a Mockingbird because I read that in school about 10 years ago, and I still might go back to it if I change my mind throughout the month. It's still, you know, in my mind. However, the book that I did choose for now is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I read this quite early on in 2020 and I loved it so much. Like, so much. I really want to revisit this book and I hope that it's not too soon between reads because that might make me lose interest in it. And I really don't want to lose that. But for those of you who don't know, this is about a circus that turns up in random places and is only open at night. At the beginning of this book we meet 2 characters who are sort of in competition with each other and they select students to learn their magic, and they pit their students against each other in a competition to see who's the best, and the competition is sort of set in the circus. It's a very strange story. There's a lot of interesting characters in it. I loved the characters so much. Like, they just felt so fleshed out and real. I felt such a strong connection with so many characters in this book, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them again. So these are all the books that I'm hoping to get to in the month of January. There's a few longer books here and a few books that have been on my list for quite some time. So I'm really hoping that it's a good reading month for me. I've been through quite a lot of reading slumps in 2020, and hopefully I won't have one this January. That is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have read any of these books, then let me know down below, and I'd love to hear any of your comments about these books, what you thought of my new game. If you've got any ideas for the game at all, any suggestions to put on either set of cards or anything else, I would love to hear it. And yeah, I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!